In this video, we'll be looking at data types, and in section 1, we'll be looking at what are data types and the use of data types. And in section 2, we'll be looking at the uses of SQL data types and the different kinds of data types in SQL. And in section 3, we'll be looking at questions. What are SQL data types? SQL data type is an attribute that specifies the type of data of any object. Each column, variable, and expression has a related data type in SQL, and it is used whilst creating tables. And you can choose a data type for a table according to your requirements. Let's take example this table, our product table. Our product table, we have 4 columns, and in these 4 columns we have the product ID column, the product name column, the product quantity column, and the order date. And each column has a data type in it, and the product ID column has a data type of int. That's integer. It only accepts integers. And the product name has a data type of characters, which means it only accepts characters and nothing more. It doesn't accept integer in it. And product quantity also has an int data type, meaning integer. And the order date has a data type of date time. So what the data type does is that it helps you to organize. Let's say you only accept the product ID column, you only accept only integers. And when it comes to the product name, we only accept only characters. So it is used whilst creating your data tables, and you can choose a data type for a table according to your requirements. Let's look at the uses of SQL data types. It is used to define the kind of data a column or variable should accept according to your requirements whilst creating the table. It helps you to control storage in the database, because all the data type have their memory use in the SQL database. And how do you use the SQL data types? Let's look at how you can use the SQL data types. You need to define in advance, whilst creating the table, you need to define in advance the type of data a column or variable can store. Determining data type also restricts the user from entering any unacceptable or invalid data. You can make efficient use of memory by assigning an appropriate data type to variables or column, which will allocate only the required amount of system memory of the respective column data. And in SQL, Microsoft Server offers a broad categories of data types per the user's need, like the data, the binary image. Let's look at why we use data types in database. Let's take example, the sign up page. When you're signing up a page, you need a first name, a last name, and a contact details. And in these details, for us not to accept a numeric or integer in the first name or the last name, because no human being on earth has an alphabet in their names. So for us not to accept an integer in first name and last name, we need to introduce the data type characters. So that's where the characters data type comes in. And in the contact form, for us not to accept an alphabet in the contact form, because all the contacts we have are numeric. For us not to accept any alphabet in the contact form, we need to assign a data type to this contact column in the database. That's where we use the integer data type. The integer is for us to take the right data from our users. Now let's look at the MS SQL data types. Let's look at the different kinds of data types in SQL. Now let's look at, we have the exact numeric data type, we have the approximate numeric data type, we have the time and date data type, we have the unique characters data type, we have the binary data type, and we also have the other data types. And in the exact numeric data type, there are 7 kinds of data types under the exact numeric. So this is where you use it. We have the big int, meaning the big integer, and we have the int, also known as the integer, small int, we have tiny int, bit, decimal, we have the numeric, we have the money, we have the small money. So these are the sub data types in the exact numeric data type. They are sub. So these are what we use in creating our tables in database. Now let's look at the approximate numeric data type. The approximate numeric data type has 2 sub data types. That's the float and the real data types. And the date and time data type also has 6 sub data types. We have the date time data type, we have the small date time, we have the date, we have the time, we have the date time offset, we have the date time 2. And the Unicode characters, we have n character, that's the n char, n varchar, and n text. And we have the binary strings. In the binary strings data type, we have the binary, the var binary, and images. And the other data types, we have the cursor, we have the version, we have the row version, we have unique identifier, SQL variant, XML, we have the tables. Let's look at the exact numeric data type and the sub data types under it. The exact numeric data type has big int. The big int stores whole numbers in a given range, and the range has been given, and the storage is 8 bytes. It has a memory capacity of 8 bytes. And we have the int. It stores whole numbers in a given range. It also stores a whole number in a given range, and the range is being given, and the storage is 4 bytes. This memory capacity is 4 bytes. And we have small int. Small int, it stores whole numbers in a given range, and the range has been given over here, and the storage capacity is 2 bytes. And we have the tiny int. The tiny int also stores whole numbers in a given range, and the range has been given because it's tiny, 0 to 225, and it has a memory capacity of 1 byte. And we have bits. The bit can take 1, 0, or null values, and the range has been given from 0 to 1, and it has a memory capacity of 1 byte per 8 bits column. And we have the decimal data type. The decimal data type you use for a scale and a fixed precision numeric. Look at it. It is used for a scale and a fixed precision numeric, and it has a range, and the range has been specified over here, and it stores. It has a memory capacity of 5 to 7 bytes, 17 bytes. And we have the money data type. And the money data type, you use monetary data. That's you are working with money. That's where you use your money data type. And let's take for example, and the range has been given over here. It stores it has a range of 9 quadrillion to and the memory capacity is 8 bytes. We use the big int. Normally we use the big int for large values. Let's say telephone numbers or other stuff, large values, and we use the int for also values, integers. We also use for integers, and the small int. And you need, in creating a database, you need to assign a data types to it. So all these data types can be assigned to it when creating a database table. Let's look at the approximate numeric data type, and we have float. It is used for floating precision number. That's the range given over here, and the storage is n digits, depends on the n. The number of digits depends on the number of digits you specify within the float. And you also have the real data type. It is used for floating precision number, and it has this kind of range, and the memory is 4 bytes, and it accepts 15 digits. The real data type accepts 15 digits. We have the Unicode character data type, and this category stores a full range of Unicode characters which use the UTF-16 character coding. And we have the data types, the N character, and which is a Unicode string of fixed width. This N char has a Unicode string with fixed width, and the range is given from 0 characters to 4000 characters, and the memory size is 2 times n bytes. So it's 2 times the number of characters you put in the database. And we have the n varchar. The n varchar, it is a Unicode string of variables with and it has a range of 0 characters to 4000 characters, and the memory size is 2 times n bytes, so 2 times the numbers of character bytes plus 2 bytes. And we have the n text. It is the Unicode strings of variable width, and the range is from 0 characters to 1 trillion characters. That's the n text. Normally this data type is used for description in the database or writing a short note in the database. And we have a memory space of 2 times the string's length. So the string's length is 2 times the string's length. Let's look at the date and time data type. And data type, we have date type. The data type, we have date time. It's used for specifying a date and time from 1st January 1753 to 31st December 1999. It has an accuracy of 3.33 milliseconds, and it has a range of 1753 January 1st to 1999 December 31st, and it has a memory size of 8 bytes. And we have the small date time used to specify date and time from 1st January 1 to December 31st, 1999, and it has an accuracy of 100 nanosecond, and this is the range, and it has 4 bytes fixed. 4 bytes fixed. This no matter how you give the data, it has a 4 bytes fixed. And we have data type. The data type you use to store only date from this to this, from this range, and it has 3 bytes fixed. And we have time data type used for storing only values with an accuracy of 100 nanosecond, and this is the range. It has 5 bytes. And we have date time offset, similar to datetime, but has a time zone offset. That's the range, and has 10 bytes. We have the datetime 2, used for specifying a date and time from this range to this range, from the 1st to the 31st, and these are the range, and you have 6 bytes memory. Let's look at the character strings data type. This category is related to a character type. It allows the user to define the data type of characters which can be of fixed and variable length. Let's look at the data type. We have 4 sub data types in the character strings. That's the var, the varchar max, and the text. And the char, it is a character string with fixed width. It stores a maximum of 8,000 characters, and it has n bytes memory. That's the number of characters you use, bytes. And we have the varchar. It is a character string with variable width. The char has a fixed width. And the varchar has a variable width. And the range is from 0 characters to 8,000 characters. And we have storage of the number of n bytes, the number of characters you use, plus 2 bytes. And we have the varchar max. The varchar max, this is a character string with a variable width. It is a character string with a variable width. It stores a maximum of 1 trillion characters. That's the range, and the number of bytes, the number of characters you use, plus 2 bytes. And we have the text. It is a character string with a variable width. It stores maximum 2 gig of text data, and this is the number of bytes, number of characters you use, plus 4 bytes. Let's look at the binary string data type. And we have the binary data type. It is a fixed width binary string. It stores a maximum of 8,000 bytes and has a range of 8 bytes to 8,000 bytes. And the memory size is the number of bytes, is the n bytes. That's the number of bytes you use, the number of binary you use. And we have the var binary. This is a binary string of variable width. The var binary has a variable width, whilst the binary has a fixed width. It stores a maximum of 8,000 bytes. That's the range, 0 bytes to 8,000 bytes. The actual length of data entered plus 2 bytes. That's the memory. The actual length of data entered plus 2 bytes. And we have the image data type. This is a binary string of variable width. It stores maximum 2 gig, and we have the range to be 0 bytes to 2 trillion bytes. Now we are done with data types. I hope you understand data types. This brings me to the end of data types. See you in the next section. Bye.